Werewolves. Werewolves are one of the most classic of movie monsters, and just like any classic supernatural monster, there are many different rules, and it's to the point where almost every werewolf movie has their own rules. In Monster Squad, literally only a silver bullet will kill a werewolf, and he only turns on a full moon. But in Underworld, werewolves are allergic to silver and can squeeze them out as long as they didn't hit like a lethal spot, and they can change at will. And the movie Cursed 2022 is no exception, and I am super okay with that. Honestly, as long as the idea is good and consistent, I don't really care much about the specifics of the werewolf lore movie by movie, unless the movie is shit.
I'm not good. I used to be a good kid. Not anymore.
The Cursed is a period piece focused around a settlement of French people and their dealings with gypsies, and the consequences of said dealings. I'll do a quick review with a few minor spoilers, and then go deeper into more serious spoilers. I'll timecode it all in the description, and you can jump around at your leisure. Most of the movie predates World War I and focuses on the Laurent family. There's the dad, Seamus, mom, Isabel, and their two children, Charlotte and Edward. Seamus and the elders of the settlement are worried about some gypsies that have set up shop on their land, and unfortunately for the Frenchmen, the gypsies have some legitimate claim to the land. But unfortunately for the gypsies, the French don't really care, and they set out to handle the situation. The gypsies then place a curse on the Laurent family, and later on, the boy Edward goes missing. Then enters John McBride. John McBride rides into town under the guise as a pathologist, and it's pretty obvious this isn't his real profession. He starts asking about the gypsies and gets asked to go to the Laurent house to help them find Edward, and also investigate the recent mysterious deaths around the settlement. Right off the bat, it seems like McBride knows exactly what's happening, and not only knows how to handle the beast responsible for the recent deaths, but also the townsfolk in an era where everyone is filled with fear and is quick to violence, which is pretty impressive. And that's about as far as I'll go to avoid spoilers. So how was it? It's pretty good. I'll start off with the negatives. The beginning and very end are total bullshit. The reason why is that they do this stupid time jump. At the beginning, we are in World War I, and then we bounce back 35 years. At the end, they jump back to World War I time for what is supposed to be some sort of wholesome reveal, but what it really did is spoil how the movie ends. You don't know everything that happens, but the most important part gets told to you, and anyone who starts using their brain halfway through this movie would be like, oh, that's what the beginning is. What a shit idea that kills half of the mystery in this film. What kills the other half is we know exactly why the family is cursed in the first place. The movie showed us everything that happened and why it happened right when it happened. Most all supernatural movies have a sense of mystery, especially with werewolf movies, and even more especially when it's a werewolf curse movie. One more knock against this movie is the pacing. The first half is slow, and they make a lot happen in a short time, but thankfully it picks up in the second half of the movie. Now on to the positives. It's a good period piece. It felt very authentic for the era in almost every way. I like the way they did the werewolf in this movie. Looks more monster rather than just a big wolf. I also like their own spin on the supernatural aspect of it. It was creative and nothing like I've seen before. The movie didn't seem to have the budget for pure practical effects, so a lot of the wolf is CGI, and it doesn't always look very good, but damn, they really implement the less is more rule, and they do it really well. Very good balance of showing a lot or a little and how to use it to make you fear for the characters. And the actors are all good and play their roles very well. Overall, I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10, and I'd recommend giving it a watch. Now I'm going into spoiler territory, so feel free to duck out if you're planning on seeing it in theaters. Now to expand on the negatives in the movie. The movie starts off with Edward being wounded in World War I. We don't know it's Edward at first, but he is getting bullets pulled out of him, and one of them is a silver bullet. Halfway through the movie, we know Edward is the first turned. At first you think it was Timmy, who was compelled to put the silver teeth in his mouth that were cursed, and then attacked Edward. But after, we see Timmy be part of the search party that's looking for Edward, so you can easily figure out that the soldier from the beginning is more than likely Edward. So the movie straight up told us how the movie is going to end. It's movies like this that make time jumps at the beginning of stories seem like a terrible idea, especially if you're going back in time. There are better ways to hook your audience. My next gripe is the Gypsy Massacre. Nothing wrong with it, actually it's done very well. It kind of reminds me of the first fight in The Revenant, just a zoomed out version of it.
Get to the boat! To the boat, sir! Move! Move, move!
But the problem is that we see everything happen in the first 15 minutes of the film, and right after that we see one of the gypsies curse the family, which eliminates all mystery. We know exactly what the dad did and why his family is cursed, and because of the terrible beginning, we know that the curse is broken and Edward turns back into a human. So we have no mystery and a kind of movie that should have a lot of it in it. Speaking of the silver bullet, it makes no sense why it's still in Edward. At the end of the movie, the survivors of the settlement are hauled up in a church. While everyone is asleep, the mom is convinced to open the door because she hears her son Edward crying outside. So when she opens the door, she is greeted by werewolf Edward, who leaps in and starts slaughtering everyone, which may be the best scene in the whole film. Imagine if that's how the movie ended. The entire settlement turned into werewolves. Oh, that would be so awesome. Anyways, McBride is armed with silver bullets that were made from the silver teeth, and he gets a chance to shoot Edward, but the mom Isabel is in the way and refuses to move, so McBride shoots through her and hits Edward, and he turns back into a human, and Isabel holds her son while she dies. So, why didn't they remove the bullet from Edward? He is a small child with a bullet in his torso, and we know those wolves didn't have an insane healing factor because McBride was able to essentially kill one with a spike trap. Also, if the bullet went through the mom and hit Edward, it should have been a lot easier to pull out because it wouldn't have gone that deep. Speaking of the bullet, they're made from the silver teeth that the gypsies had before, and in the movie it's mentioned that the silver teeth are made out of the silver that was paid to Judas for betraying Jesus. This really seems to come out of nowhere and is pretty ridiculous. Like, cursed objects don't have to be that special.
Das Urtug sei unbilligt.
Okay, now going into the positives. I like the white wolf monster look. Yeah, sometimes the CGI wasn't the best, especially the fleshy vine aspect of it, but when McBride cuts a wolf open and one of the kids crawls out of the stomach, that was awesome. In fact, almost every scene with the werewolf is awesome. Attacking Timmy in the tall grass, attacking some field workers, attacking the maid while she was doing laundry, attacking the church, being lured into the traps set by McBride. It's all good. McBride is a solid addition to the cast of characters. His backstory with the curse and the death of his wife and kid really adds well to the story. I was actually a little surprised that he didn't end up marrying the daughter Charlotte, or the wife. I know there was a bit of an age gap, but that was pretty standard during that era for a woman the age of Charlotte to marry a guy the age of Mr. McBride. There are some glances that she gives him, but I guess that could be interpreted as nervous glances of fear instead of shy glances of like a possible future. But everything else seemed very authentic to the era. The mannerisms, superstitions, clothing, scenery, it all works really well. I don't think it's the best werewolf movie ever made, but still worth a watch, and thank you for watching, and stay spooky.